Greetings, Divine Mirror. Sacred, awakening, remembering, gods and goddesses, one and all. Thank you for showing up. Welcome to Voices of the Global Awakening, Tuesdays with Tess, episode number 40. And today's topic is your relationship with the field. Before I get into any of that, I just want to say how wonderful it is to be accumulating episodes and to be sticking with it and enjoying the experience very much and enjoying the surprises. So far, having only had planned guests a few times, and the rest of the time it's sort of like turning it over to the divine to see what is magnetized into the field and whether I can hold the space and just keep being present and allowing myself to be used as a vessel to express from the cutting edge of my awareness. And the whole point here is that evolution is a team sport, and we who have been evolving together, all of us on this planet, are reaching a kind of a critical mass. You can feel it, right? Like the intensity of life feels like it is totally speeding up, and that we really need to support one another and to share our tools so that we can do the best we can to move through this quickening or this shedding, or however you may see what is happening. I think that we are moving past the veil. The illusion of separation is thinning, and this perception of ourselves as fragile, finite, vulnerable mortals is falling away. And there's a lot of fear in the collective, which some like to use the acronym false evidence appearing real, which is so much of the divine play that we have been engaged in for millennia in the world of time, and so many incarnations and so many different permutations of this, what we call human experience. And so those of us who feel particularly sensitive and have felt so for quite a while seem to have a sense of that which is coming. And so it's super important for us to share with one another what we see, what we feel, to think outside the box, to share from a place of as much expanded awareness as we possibly can. And so we've been meeting now for 40 weeks, and it is always my pleasure and delight to invite any of you who are inspired to come on live with me on camera, because all the world's a stage and we are all players in this divine play experience, and we all have a piece of the puzzle. So anytime that you feel inspired to come on and share your perspective on the topic of the week, or if something is burning alive in you and you would like to be witnessed and heard and potentially have some reflection, feedback, another perspective, we are all mirrors and we are all learning from one another's journey. So I absolutely invite that. And what this is an interactive community enrichment offering. So there is a lot of challenge and sense of isolation, and so the times that we can come together and support one another is for the betterment of all. So that's what we're doing here, and we will continue to do so for the foreseeable future, and potentially shift in terms of our technologies and platforms and things like that as we become more proficient, and I gain more tangible support in the physical world. And in the meantime, I am doing the best I can here, and so far so good. So I'm pretty satisfied. So as I was saying, that our topic today is your relationship with the field. And what I'm referring to is this atmosphere in which we exist, which I would say is intelligent. And just like fish exist in the sea in an atmosphere that they don't necessarily see or are aware of, we exist inside of this intelligent atmosphere that we are in a relationship with. So even though we can't see it, when we bring to our awareness its existence instead of taking it for granted and feeling as though we are these separate entities that have simply been, deposited in this dimension, and we need to figure out how to support ourselves and how to sustain ourselves and how to save ourselves. And it's all coming from this very isolated, lonely place, as though it is us against the world. And what I like to do is offer what I describe as spiritual logic, things that are coming from a more kind of metaphysical, exalted perspective, and yet have a soundness to them, a practicality to them that feels solid, that feels like something that you can wrap your brain around. And if you can wrap your brain around it, then potentially your heart and the rest of you may feel safer in order to relax into a level of trust in relationship to this field. So certain things that I might say to you would be that I am life, you are life, this is life, and we are a part of this. It is a symbiotic relationship. So it's kind of like our relationship with the trees, with oxygen and carbon, is it monoxide or dioxide? I get it confused. So but there is a reciprocity between the exchange that is going on, that is sustaining us both. So it is the same thing with this atmosphere in which we exist, which is intelligent, which is intimately touching us, like not just metaphorically, but literally and actually touching us and permeating us, and we are existing within it. And so we are in a dance, carbon dioxide, thank you, Stu. And Shireen is here, nice to see you. And we're waiting for Jane Cohen, who is doing her best to find us, and hopefully she will be able to do it. I'm not sure about the algorithms, and once upon a time it used to be that when you would put up a Facebook Live, everybody in your account would get a notification that you were going live, and I'm not sure that that's happening anymore. It's a little challenging for me to tell when I'm the one who's initiating it, where it is showing up and who might actually be seeing it. So in fact, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to search for her and see if I can. No, it's not picking her up. Okay. So where was I? So we are in a living breathing, active relationship with this field in which we exist. And the more we can allow ourselves to soften and slow down and put our attention on the field as if it were an actual person. So it's like, a ghost or something, only it's not just the form of a human outside of us, but it's actually this entire field has a personality, if you will, that you get to design in your consciousness based on what would feel good to you. And you make that your primary relationship. So, I have a lyric in one of my songs, the beloved arises in endless disguises. And then it goes on to dread not our goodbyes, for again we will rise. So it's suggesting a detachment from form without fear, so that we can cultivate a deep relationship with the unseen as if it were the closest being to us, which it is, because it is always touching us and it is always permeating us and it is intelligent. So whatever would feel good to you to choose in terms of characteristics for this divine partner, whether you were to see it as a benevolent parent of whichever gender feels more nurturing, nourishing, supportive of you. Yay, Jane, you made it. I'm so glad. So glad to see you here. So whichever gender of parental figure might feel nurturing and nourishing, as I said, or if it would feel better for you if this energy or this entity that you are ascribing characteristics of a being that you would want to be in a relationship with were that of a beloved, the most intimate. And so instead of feeling alone, you were to begin to feel seen and held and nourished and nurtured and supported and adored. And this is all going on within your own consciousness, which would, from my own experience, begin to calm your nervous system. Hang on, Jane, I'll be right. I'll pick you up in a second. And if it were to calm your nervous system in such a way that you could feel as though someone who loves you dearly is with you, beside you, taking every step with you, as opposed to you doing it as you perceive alone. What kind of difference could you imagine that would be making in your experience? So that is what we are going to explore, because I'm calling that your relationship with the field. And you can call it your relationship with life. You can call it your relationship with the divine. You could call it your relationship with the beloved. You could call it your relationship with God, Goddess, all that is, the one. Any of those terms would cover this experience of energy that I am describing, that if you are willing to suspend your disbelief and allow yourself to receive that energy as if it were real, as if it is real, and as if it is beside you and within you, how would that calm you down? How would that ground you? How would that support you in shifting your own vibration so that you would begin to see appearing in your field evidence that that is so, that you actually are supported and sustained and held and protected? That's what we're exploring. And without further ado, I am going to grab our brave guest who wants to come on and chat. Let's see.
Yay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
My gosh, I did it. I did a test run yesterday and did better than I did today.
Well, I mean, it's hard to do when it's not actually happening. So,
Well, no, yeah. Anyway, talk about divine intervention. I completely agree with what you're saying. And I do have that experience. Oops, I can't hear you now.
You can?
Oh, I can now. I guess I was talking over you.
Okay. So share about that. I'd love to hear what your experience is.
I think I was born loving God. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always loved God.
What does that mean for you?
It
like
is
from your
evolved. Well, as a child, it was it's different than I am now. It's different. It's like I loved going to Sunday school. I loved anything that had to do with God or angels or anything like that. But I didn't talk about it because it makes you sort of strange.
Okay.
But
Regular school, or was it the school that or did you go to religious school? Where did you?
Witness school?
Religion.
Oh, for some reason your voice is fading out. My parents became Christian Scientists when I was 2 years old. And from Judaism, they converted from Judaism.
Wow.
And I started going to Sunday school, and I loved Sunday school. In fact, I went till I was 21, which is as long as you're allowed to go to Sunday school.
Wow.
My experience has evolved over the years, where I actually feel the presence of the divine when I focus in that direction. And I've had a rather difficult time in terms of supporting myself and surviving, and have gotten in really difficult situations, and it's only by the grace of God. And it just sort of, it has been terrifying at times, but always opening myself up to guidance and reassuring myself life, open myself to life working. But the
Work. That's your work.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said that's your work. Life is meant to work. That's your work.
It is my work, and that's what my book is called.
Yes, Jane, can you lower your camera a little bit so we can see more of your face?
Lower my camera. Maybe I have to.
Raise
I don't know if it,
something.
like that. Does that help?
Better.
Okay, I'll see if I can put something behind this to make it do that. The easiest way I can describe it to people is when you do an act of kindness towards someone, or you feel someone. I mean, when you do an act of kindness, I think most people feel really good. It gives them sort of a blissful feeling. Not everybody, but I think a lot of people do. And to me, that blissful feeling is feeling the divine. So anytime you do, the way I define the divine, and this is partly what I gained from Christian Science, actually, is the attributes, but I've modified it somewhat when I wrote my book. Life, truth, love, principle, consciousness, intelligence, and inspiration. When you feel those things, it's like a gateway to the divine. You can just feel it, whether it's coming from yourself or from someone else.
I'm going to ask a request of you. If today you will repeat those words slowly, if you would write them in the chat, that would be awesome.
Okay. Life, truth, love, principle, consciousness, intelligence, inspiration.
Great. That's great. I don't know if you heard me say that.
For some reason, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
It seems like when there's two people on, it affects my sound. Is it okay now?
No. Maybe I can. I see a mic there. Maybe that if I press it, I'll probably make it mute rather. Well, I was hearing you before. It seems to have to do with when we speak in dialogue. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove you and bring you back, okay?
You're going to what? Yes. Oh, good. No, I can't again. Oh, gosh. I see. Let's see. Let me press this. Huh. I don't see if there's a way to raise the volume. I can hear you just slightly low. Can you? How well can you hear me? Can you hear me? You. If you can hear me, put your thumb up. Okay. So you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Oh God. Maybe I should go out and come back in again if I could figure out how to do that. I'm going to press the X thing and then see if I can get back in.
Okay, are you hearing me better now? Are you hearing me better now? And let me see if I can get Jane back on. That is a yes. Okay. Fingers crossed. We're back. Can you hear me, Jane?
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
I can. Can
Yay.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes! Woo! I'm always amazed when something.
Okay, now we have a little lag. I'm experiencing a little lag between.
Technological actually works.
Okay, thank you, Stu, for giving
Yeah,
us feedback. I appreciate it.
me too.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you to lower your camera again. And
Me
thank
too.
you for the time check. Okay, lower the camera, honey.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me figure it out. Okay.
That's it.
Is that
That's it.
good?
Good. Yes. Okay.
Does that work?
Yes. So what I was saying was that I
All
consider
right.
myself to, I consider myself to be a word alchemist, and I believe that words are this like sacred magic that has been given to us, that we get to pass sentences and cast spells with the language that we choose. And so those words that you shared with us are very potent manifesting intentions.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be quiet. Ooh, connection failed. We're having fun. Um, this is our relationship with the field right now. So, Jane, I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to just hold space for you to share whatever you are inspired
Okay.
to.
Okay. So there's no feedback with me. Uh, can I hear? Can you hear me without feedback?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I wasn't expecting this. Um, well, I need a little hint or something like some direction. Um,
Well, you started by sharing those words
oh,
with us,
okay.
and
Yeah,
and from yeah. So you were talking about your relationship with God
right.
and walking with the
Okay, so,
divine.
oh, okay. So um, having having an experience of the divine has to do with shifting um, energy. Seems like a cliche, but it's a raising of energy. It's really intention. I mean, I, with all my heart, want to be connected with the divine, uh, and it makes me cry. A lot of things make me cry. I cry at the drop of a hat.
Ah, that's
Um,
beautiful.
it's embarrassing to me. I can't help it. Um, it's an energetic shift. I've been trying to figure out a way to show other people, because I know a lot of people who are very spiritually oriented but can't actually get an experience of the divine. And but I think the easiest for people is love, I think. I mean, people get a really good feeling when they do something kind towards somebody else. Is that not true? I mean, do most people not feel that?
Oh, I would say absolutely. And I think that there's probably a quicker way through getting people connected to an experience of presence.
Well, yeah, but that's the bottom line thing. Is all those things bring you into the present moment, which is where you get connected to the divine, because this is where truth is. It's where love is. All those things exist in the present moment. It's getting into and that's what meditation is for, certainly.
Yes.
I mean, meditation does help you get into the present moment. And some people are able to connect with the divine there, and some people aren't. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
What would you think would be in the way of that?
Of when you meditate, whether you can connect with divine or not, or in the way of what? Being in the present moment.
In the way of
okay.
Feeling the connection.
Oh, it's a good question. Well, number one thing is you have to want to. Well, I can. It's easier for me to answer what's in being in the present moment, and those
Okay.
are. I talk a lot, and I work a lot with the concept of limiting decisions, and that's what my work, my counseling. Where I'm an NLP and timeline master practitioner, and the sessions that I do. The idea that life in its undistorted form is perfect. It works wonderfully well. It's the distortions that cloud our experience of that make life not work. And so when someone comes in to see me, their life isn't working in some way. And so basically what I end up doing is getting to the limiting decisions that are causing their life not to work, such as a decision, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, people can't be trusted, the world is a dangerous place, and anything along those lines. So I do a hypnotic process for releasing limiting decisions. But getting to the specific limiting decisions that are holding in place a particular problem can be tricky. And I feel as though when I'm doing my work, I am connecting with the divine, because I'm opening up a channel for inspiration to come in, for clarity to come in. And sometimes I'm really asking for divine help because it's so difficult. Sometimes it's easier for me. And sometimes I sit for a while and I say, hold on, let me think for a moment. I don't mean when I say that, but I don't mean that I'm going to think. I just open up a channel for space for inspiration to come in. So limiting decisions are, and I don't know how much of the detail you want to hear, but how they're formed and what causes you to not be able to be in the present moment.
Yes, yeah, that's what yes,
okay.
That's what we're talking about, yes.
Okay, I'm a little nervous now for some reason.
Okay, slow down and breathe. Let's just get into presence with each other first. Let's just stop and look into each other's eyes as virtually, realistically as we can, and take some slow, deep breaths together.
Okay, so we're actually touching on some deep issue in me that I've actually written a poem about. I don't have it in front of me right now. I have prevented myself from really being out in the world in a big way. it's not sort of not exactly on purpose. And anything related to ego, I shy away from. Anything that says, here I am, I'm, great, whatever. And it's something that I've been working on trying to figure out. I don't like to be the center of attention, sort of shine publicly. I was losing my train of thought here. Okay. So when I start talking about what I was going to talk about, it's almost like bragging. And
okay, are you open to, since you're sharing this transparently and vulnerably, are you open to us doing a little unpacking there to maybe identify what that is? Because it's kind of perfect that we're talking about what may be in the way in the realm of distortion, as opposed to in the undistorted realm, which is where we're trying to get ourselves and others back to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's perfect. It's actually really perfect. So thank you, Jane. I feel really honored to be in this container with you right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna ask is
lots of love to you, Tess. I love you.
thank you, and likewise. I love you too. I'm glad to see you. We don't see each other very often these days.
No, we
Yeah.
don't. We don't.
Yeah. So, okay, so first let's go back to my request that we just like slow down and drop in and look into each other's eyes as best we can, given this technology, and just take a slow, deep breath together.
Okay.
And exhale out through your mouth. And let's do it again. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And one more time. Slowly, deeply inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And let's just spend a few moments in silent presence together.
I can feel that this is very important because it's bringing me to the fear place.
I'm right here with you. You feel me?
I do. Where I feel it's not safe to really show myself. And I think you may have quoted Marianne Williamson's thing that's often quoted. People are not afraid of what's wrong with them, but they're afraid of shining and showing who they are.
Well, I heard that earlier
I'm going to do it.
I heard that earlier when you were describing your love for God, and that it makes you emotional, and that you're embarrassed to show that. And that was noteworthy to me because that is what you want to teach and show people, and it is the most central, important thing in your life, and yet you're shy to share it for fear of being judged as bragging or egoic or something. If I understood what you were saying, if I put it together. Let's unpack that. I want to unpack that with you.
I am. So the way I understand this is that because I have self-esteem issues, major ones, although I think I've probably worked through a lot of them. The only reason people brag is when they are trying to make up for a self-esteem issue. It's a defense system. And I have preferred to be seen as lesser than, and this is making me cry, to engage in the self-defense system because it separates me from God. I'd rather be a nebbish than to separate myself from God. And I know this is not logical or it's stuck in my unconscious. It's not what my conscious mind thinks.
Let's talk about what your conscious mind thinks. Share that part.
I have explored this subject a lot. I think that people will be jealous. They'll want to attack me. It's probably a past life kind of thing.
What
guess.
Do you think they would be jealous of?
If I was shining and really valuable, I mean, that's based on the idea, the assumption that other people don't feel good about themselves, which is not necessarily true. And I don't know where it came from. I'm not certain what we're doing right now. Maybe I should just go ahead and share what I was going to share that made me nervous in the first place.
Hang on. Can we hang on for 1 second? I kind of want to just
Sure.
stop and feel and breathe myself. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I am present with you, and I feel as though you've given me permission to really be present, to share where I am as best as I can.
Okay.
Which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I feel like because my thing is, as I described, I don't know if you heard me earlier or ever talk about spiritual logic. I like to apply what I call spiritual logic so that we can debunk the myths that are creating the distortions and allow ourselves to fully own, receive, and embody our divine connection. Because what I believe is that those of us who have a relationship with the divine have a responsibility to be ambassadors for the divine.
I agree. Totally.
To be the ones who are representing and embodying the good news, as the church would state, right? The good news that we're not separate from the divine. We are connected. This game of mortal hypnosis that the collective is experiencing because of the distortion in which they feel disconnected.
Right.
So, and we have been given faces and we have been given voices and we have been given minds to share, to be seen, to be heard, to offer up our reflection and our perspective. So the thing about ego is we've made it a dirty word, and I've heard the acronym edge God out. That is an acronym for ego that is negative. But if it is the creator who designed each of us as unique expressions with our own personalities, with our own preferences, with our own idiosyncrasies, it is in reality more egoic to try to diminish this expression of the divine than to celebrate it. Does that make sense? Because it is a wounded ego that suggests.
I am.
Go ahead.
Right. I would call it the substitute self. But I'm getting more out of what you're saying than you probably realize, just from feeling your presence. That's not quite how I want. Something in your presence, I feel, is giving me permission.
Beautiful.
And you're a person who has done it. I mean, you are out there expressing your singing. I love to sing, and I love to be much more expressive. But I just stop myself from doing it. I can't do it in public.
You have not yet given yourself permission to do it in public. It's not that you can't. You can. Hang on a second. I need to let a little more air in the room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
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 All right. I'm here with you, Jane. So, I gotcha.
Okay. So I will see if I can explain what I was going to explain.
Okay.
From a different consciousness. It's a work in progress. Okay.
We can lighten up about it. It doesn't have to be so heavy and serious. It could be more.
Okay.
All the world's a stage. So we're on stage.
All righty. So I developed a whole new thought system, which is the Life is Designed to Work thought system. It's very comprehensive. It took me 10 years to write this book.
Beautiful.
I was in a spiritual community for 22 years. I was 26 when I joined it and 48 when I left. It was very dysfunctional. It was pretty much a cult. And I was trying to save my soul. I was told and believed that I was bad. And I joined it because the spiritual leader, who was a woman, was really good at sort of getting into people's unconscious and revealing things, or it was very confrontational. So I like the fact that it was sort of community and it was talking about stuff in the unconscious level, but I was terrified almost the whole time I was there. I was emotionally very violent and confrontational. And
wow.
I took care of an autistic, her middle daughter, Nikki, who I always cry when I talk about her. Profoundly autistic, suicide, didn't speak, but a deep, deep, beautiful, beautiful soul. And I worked with her, and I was really good at it because I developed empathic skills and intuitive skills in order to work well with her. So at any rate, being there, I learned a lot about what causes life not to work. I was very judgmental and good and bad oriented and so on. And I finally gained the strength to leave. And I gained a lot of strength, a lot of knowledge, and that's probably why this ended up being a counselor, because of my work with Nikki. Sometime about a year later, I found out about NLP and timeline, and I went to Hawaii, and I took all the training and so on.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to say for anyone that may listen now or later that NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So
right.
Yeah.
Study of the language of the brain, how we form our subjective experience, and how that can be changed. Actually, for a year before I did that, I studied A Course in Miracles very intensely. When I left the spiritual community, I was living by myself for the first time in my life. And I started having panic attacks. Anyway, so I started studying A Course in Miracles very, very intensely. And then, because I was trying to build, I'd been out of mainstream society for 2 years. And having realized the group was very dysfunctional, I had nothing really to orient my sense of reality around. And I think studying A Course in Miracles to help me start to build a more positive frame of reference around which to orient myself.
Beautiful.
So when I finished my NLP training, I started seeing clients, and I took a stand on the principle that life is designed to work. It wasn't a conscious decision. I just did it. It was like it was a soul level thing that just happened to me. And it's like I was standing on a different perspective. It's like something opened up. It's like having a larger perspective was available to me. I could see things in a different way because of taking that stand.
Beautiful.
And I'm caught between temptation to be egoic about it and being moved to tears. So I'll just stay in that limit. That's okay.
You can celebrate the blessing that you are being used as a vessel to deliver this to the world. You can celebrate that.
Yeah.
Without worrying about ego. You can be humble and celebratory at the same time.
Okay, so when I started working with clients, I was standing on that. No matter what happened, the bottom line was life is designed to work. That's how from the perspective in which I was interpreting everything. And I didn't really know it to be true when I first started out working with clients. But after working with them, as I cleared the limiting decisions, their life worked. It's that something that was right in front of them the whole time that they hadn't seen that was an opportunity would just become clear to them. Relationships would clear up. Conflicts would clear. It was clear to me that if life isn't working, it's not the nature of life. It's not the nature of men or women or anything external. It is limiting decisions which are distorting people's experience of reality and keeping them from being present to what's actually possible. And when you clear them, life works wonderfully well.
Amen.
Which proved to me very clearly that life in its undistorted form is designed to work.
Yes.
So that's and the way. So I was going to describe this before. The way the distortion happens is that when it's usually a traumatic event that happens in early childhood between the age of around 7 years old, before the age of 7, sometimes in adolescence, although it can happen in a past lifetime, past generation, in the womb, and so on. Something occurs that's traumatic, that you haven't experienced before. Your mother, you do something as a young child that your mother gets really upset about, and she slaps you and tells you you're bad and sends you to your room, something like that, where there's just shock to the child, their sense of reality has just been shattered because your mother's never done anything like that before. And the worst thing about the traumatic event is not the pain that happened, it is the loss of a sense of reality. It's very destabilizing. So when that occurs, the conscious mind stops functioning and the unconscious mind takes over. It's a state of trance. And in that
This is great,
state,
Jane.
the unconscious mind decides on a meaning for what you just saw, heard, and felt. It's actually on my website. There's a little video describing all this. Let's see. So the unconscious mind decides on a meaning for what you just saw, heard, and felt based on your development and the amount of experience that you've had. So the child might decide, this means I'm bad, and plus my mother called me bad and sent me to the room. So then the unconscious mind is invested in proving that limiting decision is true because it represents a source of stability. So even though it's negative, you now think you know what reality is, and you can figure out how to defend yourself against it. You develop emotional defense systems. And
this is genius. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The unconscious mind is it has to do with the people and situations you're attracted to and are attracted to you. That's happening on an unconscious level, and you develop a whole defense system. So now you are functioning from a substitute persona.
From a what?
A substitute persona.
Substitute persona.
In other words, your self has been distorted. You believe yourself to be a bad person, and plus whatever other limiting decisions you've made. And you are also building a substitute world, distorting the experience of reality. It's how you experience people around you. They become symbols to you in your substitute world. Anybody who fits within the limiting decision that you've made becomes part of a substitute world. And people who have major control issues are trying to control all the different pieces, the symbols, in order for them to feel as though they have some kind of control over their world. Let's see. I'm not explaining this really well.
Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. I'm hanging on every word. It's so
well,
good.
it's all in my book. It's all in my book.
It's so good. It's so good, Jane.
Oh, thank
Have you done an audio book too?
No.
Good.
I haven't. That would
good.
be. Let me see. I was trying to say about that. So now the thing is, the person hangs on to their substitute, their limiting decision, because it's a source of stability. They have no other source of stability. Their substitute world is their source of stability. Let's see. What was it about that? Well, at any rate, the way out of this dilemma is to clear the limiting decisions, because then you have a real source of stability, because it has to do with expanding your awareness to a larger perspective. And actually, it's a hypnotic process for actually clearing it. And part of it is getting the learning, which allows you to view the whole situation from a more objective and larger perspective that I bring into the situation. It's part of the process of I do. It's a particular kind of hypnosis based on NLP principles, set up in a very particular way according to how brain works and memory is formed and stuff like that. And so we go back to that very first event. We see what happened, understand why the child made that decision from the child's point of view. We get the learning usually from the older and wiser self, or I help the person get the learning. There's a process for healing and letting it go. And so I don't change. Now, in hypnosis, a lot of people, hypnotherapists, go in there and change one decision for another decision, which I think is a very, very bad idea. It creates a limitation when you put something in there like that. So what I do is I pull out the distortion, pull out the limiting decision. When the person sees that it wasn't true, it really gets it, that it was from a very limited perspective, and well, anyway, I'm not going to go into all of that. It pulls out the distortion, and then the unconscious mind reconfigures itself without the distortion.
Wow.
And so it's just not there anymore because it was never true in the first place. And then there's a process for clearing it all the way from that point in time, from just before the event all the way through to the present. And that clears it. And then there's a short process after that, this conscious process for checking and making sure it's not there anymore. So that's what happens. So when people do dysfunctional things out in the world, it's not their real selves. It is their substitute persona, and when people get into conflicts with each other, usually it's because each is trying to prove their substitute world is the right one, because they're
Brilliant.
trying to hold their sense of stability. Their whole sense of stability is dependent. That's why people get so enmeshed in it, because they're defending their sense of stability. That's why there's people even kill each other over it.
Right. Well, I've created the most expansive sense of reality that I could by declaring that I am standing on solid God.
Yes, absolutely. That's
Now,
the real world.
other people
That's the real
could
world.
look at that as distorted and psychotic and not facing reality. And for me, it's like the most liberating thought that I could come up with.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I
Awesome.
mean,
Awesome.
for me, that has been the only stability. Whoops. It's interesting. I just almost knocked that over when I said stability.
On stability.
My only stability.
Bump. God's sense of humor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm living proof, because the only way I've survived for all these years is continually open myself up to the divine and divine guidance, because it's been pretty tough. So,
And would you imagine that the toughness is related to the parts of you that haven't fully surrendered to the greater reality, that you are supported and you are sustained, and there is this benevolent intelligence, and it is the field in which we exist that is sustaining you?
it's right. It's been a process of opening myself up more and more. I mean, it's become clear to me that the only thing I'm dependent on is God, and it's quite clear, because I've had so little stability, that I haven't. A husband isn't taking care of me. I don't own my own home. I have nothing that's just inherently stabilizing. So hopefully I'll get to the place where I can create that for myself.
In 3D, it appears that way.
Yeah, in 3D.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something
Well,
else
I
I
like to say
was going to say, but I
there
forgot.
really is only one thing that is supporting and sustaining us, and that is source intelligence that breathes life into us, that animates us, and that chooses to continue to have our characters here in the play, on the playing field.
Yeah.
Everything else is window dressing. Everything is placebo, whether it's the food, whether it's the money, whether it is the sense of partnership or whatever. It's like we get to enjoy all those things in this field, in this dimension, and yet none of
I
them
completely
are
agree. Yeah.
yeah, none of them are what is actually supporting and sustaining us. There's only one thing.
Yes, yeah, I know. And I've written about it. Got all kinds of poems and stuff like that. As
Is
part
there
of,
one at the top of your
I,
head that you could share?
oh, no, I don't think so. I put a couple of poems on your website, but I never saw it go up.
Where? I don't know. I haven't seen
Um,
them.
oh, really?
Mm-mm.
Uh, I put them, I think you're on your regular website. Uh, the last one is Heart Connected Community. And let's see, what one before was a more vulnerable one, but I can't.
Wow, I'd love to know where you put them because I haven't seen them.
Oh, well, I'm glad I asked because I was wondering if you didn't like them or why they didn't get.
No, I don't tend to
okay.
ignore people.
Yeah, I
um,
wouldn't think so.
yeah.
Uh, I have to get better organized.
I would suggest that everything is a get to, not a have to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. I can send that at some point when I find it.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
remind me of what I was looking for. My
You were
memory is
looking
not.
for a piece of poetry that you could share.
I know, but it was can't remember. The, well, when I find it, I recognize it.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
So could you describe your conscious waking sense of relatedness to the divine?
Could you repeat that again?
Could you articulate in words your waking awareness, like when you're awake,
Oh,
not
okay.
when you're sleeping, but when you're from the moment you
Uh-huh.
rise up till the moment you rise down, that you lie down at night, can you describe your sense of your relationship with the presence that is in your field?
Okay. Well, I'm not always thinking about the divine.
I understand. But when you
um,
are,
but when I am thinking about the divine, um, I'm not sure how to relate to the question. Well, I know that if I get into a place of fear, that I am um, on an unconscious level telling myself that life doesn't work. I'm I'm closing off the possibility of life working when that happens. It's a shutting down, and so I say to myself, I open myself to life working, and that always
I love that.
calms me down. So, uh, see, just say, and I know you know this. It's not it's not asking divine in. It's opening yourself to divine coming in. Divine's always coming in. It's just a matter if you're opening or shutting yourself off from it. So if you're not connected, it's because you're not opening yourself up because divine's ever present. It's everywhere. It's a matter if you're
Hmm.
opening yourself up to it or not. Um, allowing it to happen, allowing the experience to happen.
So how would you guide somebody to that?
Okay, now I remember something that I was going to say before, which is an answer to the question as well. Um, I couldn't have written my book if I hadn't gone through hell. And if I had been able to receive, uh, I can fairly easily facilitate clearing limiting decisions for other people and just bring them right through what you're asking me. That's how I do it. But I can't do it for myself.
Why
Clearing
do you think
limiting
that
decisions
is?
is a shortcut because I couldn't
Well,
have written the book if I'd been able to.
well,
I
but that's been a while already, and you're still, I mean, you're living
I,
by those principles, right?
I know. So I'm much better off than I was before I wrote the book because it's basically how to do this without clearing limiting decisions. having to do with coming into the present moment. And all we have is moment by moment. Every moment is all we have, and a relationship to that is really all that counts.
Would you say that's the way you live the majority of the time?
Probably not.
Is all we have.
Hold on. Let me give that some thought.
Okay.
No, actually, I think I think I am in the present moment a lot of the time. I think I am. Yeah. Not in the present moment when I'm watching television. Or actually, I am too, because I'm always thinking, yeah, I don't know. I think I am in the present moment quite a lot of the time. And that really, and I have a housemate. I used to have two housemates, and one, Albert. It's been quite a trip between the two of us. And he's, we trigger each other. And that's one of the motivators to come into the present moment. Oh, and I wrote a poem about that, which I probably even have that here. It has to. I think you even saw it because you commented on it. When I find myself triggered or in a place of anger or hatred, I have a large desire to not be in that state, and I bring myself into the present moment. I think what I've done in relation to Albert is, first I feel angry, and it takes me about a day to get over the anger, and then I sort of come into the present moment with my own feelings with him, and I'm not really explaining it really very well. It has to do with relating to his real self, not a substitute persona, and really being there with him rather than being stuck in the trigger, and recognizing that the first thing is you have to recognize you're triggered. That brings you into the present moment. And then you have to, I'm not sure if I can verbalize it, I just seem to know how to do it. I just allow myself to let go of the anger. I let it pass instead of feeding it.
You see?
And it ends up in love. That's all I can say. Is that both Albert and I know each other on a deeper and deeper level because we've gone through this on a number of times. I know him better, he knows me better. And I'm not sure if I'm answering. I actually forgot what the question was in the first place. With Maria, it was a different story because she's a really strong personality, and I'm terrified. I was terrified of her. When she gets angry, she's really scary, and she doesn't live here anymore. And a couple of times, if she feels at all challenged, she can get really argumentative and loud, and I get scared. But I stood up to her a couple of times in ways in which I brought us into the present moment. I think that's what I did. I brought both. That's what happened with me and Albert too. I brought us into the present moment. I can't tell you how I did it. That's what happened, and this makes me cry. It's like a miracle when you come into the present moment with somebody else, and that's what I do when I work with my clients. I bring them into the present moment. I go deeper and deeper until we get to the root of what's really true. The present moment. But when you do that in relationship, it's just an amazing thing. It's transformational.
Yeah, I think it's important to have agreements with willing people that regardless of the roles that we are playing in one another's lives, that our underlying relationship is always that we are allies in each other's evolution.
Yeah.
And if we can make that agreement when we're not in a heated place,
Yeah.
and we agree that when we get into a heated place, that whichever one of us has the presence of mind to remind us that this is our agreement. And like you say from the Course in Miracles, we're either coming from love or we're coming from fear. And so when we're in an adversarial relationship with a mirror, another self, it's because we are in that moment in the illusion of separation and misusing our I am power. So instead of choosing I am in love, we are choosing I am in fear, I am in resentment, I am in anger, whatever it might be. But it puts the responsibility on us to come out of that distortion, to come out of that hypnosis, right?
I found the easiest way to do that is to acknowledge that you're triggered.
Exactly. Yeah, because as soon as we acknowledge that we're triggered, we can notice that we are misusing our I am power in that moment. We're saying I am something other than in love. And a Gangaji would say, every moment we're choosing, am I contributing to the peace, which is presence, which is God, which is the divine, which is life itself? Or am I contributing to the chaos? And what do I choose? And if we can keep returning to peace and we can keep returning to love, then we can see the divine in the mirror, in the beloved before us, and we can stop projecting onto one another.
Yeah. Exactly true. Yeah. And when we're projecting, we're seeing the other person has become a symbol rather than who they are.
It's like archetypal. They become the enemy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But and that's what I tell when I work with couples, is one of the fundamental things to do is when you get in an argument, each of you, whenever you're triggered, you say when you're triggered, and that makes a huge difference because you're acknowledging. It takes it out of a power struggle,
Mm-hmm.
and it allows love into the picture because you've taken responsibility. It sort of brings it out of the craziness. It's a larger frame of reference.
The distortion.
And that's exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You acknowledge that you are in a distortion.
Correct.
Which then brings it to a larger, it brings it out of the substitute world.
Yes.
So when you are triggered, you're in a substitute world. When you say triggered, you've stepped out of it, at least for the moment, until you can sort of deal with it.
It's very powerful.
Oh my gosh.
If you're just joining us, and I see Samara is here saying, hi, I'm here. Hi, aloha. Are you in New York or are you in Hawaii? And I saw that Helene was here. I don't know if she still is or not. And maybe Stu still is as well. So powerful, powerful. And so our guest right now is Jane Eileen Cohen, who is the author of Life is it Meant to Work?
I originally called it Life is Meant to Work, but I ended up calling it Life is Designed to Work. A psychological and spiritual guide is the subtitle.
Quite brilliant. Quite brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, in all the years that I have known you and not seen you with much regularity in recent times, I had no idea how spiritual you are. I didn't know that about you.
Oh.
You seemed very deep and contemplative, and intelligent, but I didn't know about your relationship with the divine, and that is very appealing to me.
Thank you. I've been slowly coming out of the closet. I almost didn't even put that directly in my book until friends convinced me that it was okay to do that.
Wow. Yeah.
And my poetry has been more and more in that direction.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? I'm in New York. I think so. I don't know. Is that a cornucopia and a heart? I was expecting a big apple if you're in New York, a red apple. What was I about to say? It's very interesting, and I get it because I've experienced it myself, the shyness around fully standing in our joy of our relationship with the divine, and knowing ourselves as part of that oneness versus part of the distortion. You know, it's almost like we think that the distortion is more powerful, which is our distortion.
I think I understand what you're saying. Let me think about that for a moment. Well, I think it's sort of the power of the group kind of thing. When you have a lot of people, the general society holding in place one perspective, and people seem to not like it when someone is different than the norm.
True, and yet it is our perception of the larger population that is keeping us in this stuck and separate experience, which is something you said that I wrote down. Let me see if I can find it.
Substitute world.
Exactly.
World.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure that that's true about me anymore. I mean, when I go out in the world, I am looking for love. I'm not. I'm pretty much not out in the world anymore because I don't have a car and I don't drive. But when I used to go grocery shopping and I saw someone there, I'm looking for the light in people. And when I see something, I know, oh, what a beautiful dress, or I make some comment when I see something that's beautiful in someone, or a smile, or whatever, and I say it, and it's like light opens up between us. I'm not describing. I'm looking for the light, and wherever I can, I comment on it.
You speak
because
to
it's connecting with God.
Yes. Yeah.
Or I'm looking around. If I'm driving somewhere, I see an incredibly beautiful tree. Or I'm just looking for beauty everywhere I go.
I love that.
And looking for love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking to connect in love wherever I go, out in the world or whatever, because there are things you can see. I'm a part of PACE, St. Paul's PACE. It's not the health, my health insurer or whatever. It's for senior citizens, and I go for physical therapy once a week. And there's a whole room of elderly people. It's hard for me to think of myself as an elderly person. I say, do I look like that? Do I look like that? But at any rate, I'm looking to see how, and some of them are not all there mentally, and I'm looking for ways to connect with them, and I love it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Not sure why I started talking about that, but anyway, I did. Oh, we used to connect. So I do connect out in the world, but talking about my spiritual beliefs, though, it's because people, I guess well, I mean, I do, people close to me, I do, but just people in general in the world, it's sort of a touchy subject because people have all kinds of stuff in relation to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I think the most important thing is to connect and love. And that's the same thing. I don't know. I mean, you're right. I shouldn't be so, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I sort of talked myself into a hole. But yeah, no, I know that what you're saying is true, and I've told it to myself before. So, and I have, to a large degree, come out of the closet. I just the fact that I wrote the book, and it's clear. I mean, as point blank stated, there's no doubt for my book. That's where I am.
So what would you imagine would be a valuable support or encouragement to you to take it to another level?
Huh. I think that what you were talking about before, a second, is to let myself be seen.
Which you're doing right now, by the way. And
Yeah.
when this is finished, you're more than welcome to share it on your pages, wherever you want to put it, and be brave and let yourself be seen by more people that know you even more than anybody that might be tuning in here.
Um,
Ah!
so, right. So it's something I've grappled with before, and it has to do with my relationship with my clients.
Okay,
Um,
say more about that, what you mean.
so I think that when someone has a therapist, I'm not a traditional therapist, but I'm an alternative kind of therapy. Um, they want to think that person has things. Well, I don't present myself as having it all together necessarily. But if you're talking about your own weaknesses, which I've talked some about in this and in some of my poems, I feel as though it's not good for the relationship. I mean, I do sometimes do that, just if it feels that it would be helpful in a session. But my needs and my issues are not a part of a therapy session when I'm working with someone else.
No, but it makes you more relatable.
Oh, that's
It makes
true.
yeah, yeah, and it creates empathy, because otherwise it's almost like, the client is here and the therapist is here and they've climbed some mountain that is mysterious, and we don't know how to get to. But if we're all always a work in progress and we are transparent about it, especially now, I think in this day and age, I think the people we look to for leadership are the ones who are more transparent and vulnerable than the ones who are projecting this all put together. Because it's kind of like, it's more like two-dimensional instead of three-dimensional. Because I remember I was once in a workshop and the facilitator said, "How many people here consider yourself to be healers?" And everybody raised their hand. And then he said, "How many people here consider yourself to be wounders?" And almost nobody raised their hand. And he
You mean
said, "Until
you mean wounded, don't you?
wounders, people who wound, people who
Other
create
people.
wounds in others."
Okay.
And he said, "Until you can own that you are equal parts wounders to healers, you can't really help anyone. And by projecting having it all together without acknowledging the wounded part, we can be wounding, because we're presenting that distorted substitute world, and a world that the other person can't enter because it's this illusion of perfection that is not attainable, if that makes sense."
I understand what you're saying, but I have an adverse response to it in that And one of the poems that I posted on your website will relate to it. It's I choose to call people dysfunctional rather than bad or evil or wounder, because I'm not sure if I use this. It's not helpful. It,
Well, it's kind of like the thing, hurt people hurt people. You've heard that, right? Hurt people hurt people.
yeah.
Yeah, so it may not be intentional. It may not be maliciously instigated, but I mean, even the most conscious of us can step on somebody else's toes, and it's about being willing to own that.
Well, certainly we have to own that we're not perfect. Which actually, one thing I wanted to just mention a couple things back. I've never been a person who presents as having things all together, because I've never had that ability to do that. I've always been sort of bumbling or unsure or stuttering, or I've grown more and more sure of myself as time's gone by. Actually, since I wrote my book, I'm much more certain of myself.
That's
because
wonderful.
I connected all the dots and stuff, made things real clear. But I don't present myself as polished. I mean, I can't. I've never been able to. So I think I am relatable. I don't intimidate people because I'm too easily intimidated, or I don't know how. I don't know how to describe it. I'm clearly not perfect. I've never appeared to be polished or anything like that, even as long as I can remember.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about this because you expressed a reservation about the potential of clients seeing you divulge as vulnerably as you have here, right?
Yeah.
And yet you're aware that this is public, right? We're not in a private group. This is
Yeah.
my public Facebook page that you voluntarily and enthusiastically chose to come on and talk with me on.
And to me, so the reason I'm doing this is because I want community, and this is a step forward for me in creating community,
That's
participating
beautiful.
community. So the fact that you are spiritually oriented, I'm interested. I have been thinking about, I think you read one of my poems that related to this, not having a stable place to live, and then what I really want is a heart and spiritually based community. And so I've been thinking about that more and more. But and that my latest poem, which is I put on your website, but I'll have to put it on again, or I'll call your attention to it. I do have it in front of me. Would you like me to read it, or is that too much right now?
I would love for you to read it, yes.
Okay. Increasingly more, I live in a heart and spiritually based community as I expand my circle to the possibilities all around me. Underneath our distortion-laden subterfuge, from within our own perspective, each of us has inherent capacity as a conduit for divine presence, capacity for consciousness, intelligence, love, truth, inspiration, and life force energy is in our nature as human beings, bringing us into the present moment. Each of these are gateways to divine presence. Consciousness and intelligence reveals truth. Truth reveals the love that is inherent in any relationship underneath dysfunctional distortions. Love is an opening of the heart that allows divine presence to flow through. The potential for alchemy exists when two or more of us are gathered in consciousness, revealing our own individual present moment experience and discovering each other in the present moment truth that encompasses us all. I can't imagine anything more exciting.
I love it.
Thank you. So I'm interested, and this is what you're doing too, is that creating a space where people can come into the present moment with each other in the truth of who they are and allow alchemy to happen. And I would actually like to live in that kind of situation where it's just transformational, where people are really willing to come into present moment truth. Anyway, so I
Yes.
very much appreciate what you're creating, Tess. I really appreciate it very much.
Thank you. My intention was, and still is, to do that in the physical. I was
Really?
house hunting for 3 years, and whatever reason, my energy not being lined up or needed an interim step. And so as of January, I have landed in a lovely home, only it is much smaller and it's in an HOA in a gated community. And so I can't really do an intentional community here the way that I was wanting to. But that is still my ultimate vision, is to,
Yeah.
create a compound where there is plenty of room for a good number of live-in full-time residents and space for retreat guests, and where we could be doing
Do you?
events on a regular basis. Just like when I had the temple up in the
Yeah.
hills of Escondido, I've renamed that.
Yeah.
Instead of the Universal Temple of Higher Consciousness, I'm now calling it the Universal Temple of Expanding Consciousness, just to get the hierarchical kind of thought
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is there is a Facebook group here on here on Facebook that is the Universal Temple of Expanding Consciousness. I don't know if you're a member of that group, if that's where you posted, but I didn't see.
Um,
So yeah,
I think I posted on your regular. Um,
Facebook
I'll have to.
page.
I think so.
I know. Okay.
Or maybe it's on this one. I can't. I'll have to find it. Oh no, I can't find it because you didn't post it.
Well,
Well, I'll post it again.
I didn't prevent anything from being posted, so I don't know where you put it. But if you can find
Okay.
it, then either, yeah, send it or
I'll
tag
just
me or
post them
something.
again. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, did you know that there's a nonprofit organization for intentional communities that supports people in creating them?
I didn't. Do you know what it's called?
Uh, yeah. Let me see. I'll find it and email it to you. Do I have your email address?
Better to send me notes, something on Messenger. I'm more regularly there
Okay.
in my email. Yeah, yeah.
And I can get that through Facebook. Um, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will send that. They support people. I think they may even help find funding.
Oh, that's great. I'd love to know about that. And I would love, support in that process if that
Yeah.
turns out to be the
They have
right.
a lot. Yeah. Uh, well, maybe that's something we could partner in.
I'm happy
Or
to have the conversation for sure.
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm
How
sort
you
of
doing right
overwhelmed
now?
by the. I'm just a little overwhelmed. I mean, wow. Um, thank you.
Are you feeling stable and grounded and at peace at the moment?
Well, it's opening up unexpected doors. Um, so I can't say stable and grounded. It's like, whoa. It's not really something that I thought was going to be happening. Which I probably should have realized. Yeah. No, it's good. It's really good. I think one of humanity's biggest challenges, at least forever, is the issue of control. Letting go of control is our huge challenge as human beings. And I have lots and lots of challenges, have had lots of challenges about the issue of letting go of control. And that's probably where I am right now. Big
which we know
changes.
is an illusion.
I'm right. Yeah, you think you have control, and God sits there laughing. Oh yeah, you think you got control, do you?
You know, that reminds me of a little
like,
ditty I have. You may have heard me. I don't know how often you've tuned into this, but it goes.
No, this is the first time.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. I trust the ease and flow. I trust the ease and flow. I release the need to know. I trust the ease and flow. So,
It's beautiful. Yeah,
thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. It's really nice to sort of share that with other people who think the same way. And it's good to have it reinforced by others.
Totally. Well, I'm so grateful to you for reaching out to me and being willing and wanting to come on and dive deep. It's been very rich.
Oh, thank you, Tess.
My pleasure. So what I would like,
I'll
go ahead.
I'll continue to come on Tuesdays.
Wonderful. What I would like to request is when we disconnect, if you stay on the live stream, if you would put in the chat your website and the name of your book, so people can find you and follow up if they want.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. I
Yay.
will do that.
Okay. Anything else before we disengage?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you really from the bottom of my heart for your willingness and your transparency. It's been very rewarding.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you, Tess. And thank you for being creating a space in which that was possible.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Infinite blessings.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Whew, that was so sweet. I'm not sure who's sending those hearts, but thank you very much. I appreciate them. If you are just tuning in, this is Voices of the Global Awakening, Tuesdays with Tess, episode number 40. Today's topic has been and continues to be your relationship with the field. And we still have about 15 minutes or so left to our broadcast this week. And if you have any thoughts or inspirations or questions that you would like to come on camera and share, I invite you to reach out, either type a comment in the thread to express that, or just click on the little icon that sends me a message that you're interested in coming on. So this topic, your relationship with the field, is really my way of bringing attention to this dimension, in which we exist, in which we have a 24/7 relationship with. However, because of our programming, it is easy to ignore this field or take it for granted or not really pay any attention to it. And yet this field is what is sustaining us what is breathing life into us, what is animating us, what is causing us to be, and how we relate, our experience of how we relate to others, to the world, and how they relate to us is an outpicturing and a function of our essential relationship with this atmosphere itself. So it behooves us, in my opinion, to take the time to get into our own energy, to disengage from our ongoing relating with the other characters and the circumstances for a moment, for a time. And my experience is the longer the more I do this, the more I want to do it. What does Jane say? Do you want me to send me the information here? Yeah, post right here. No, oh no, not about, I want you to post if you have a website and if you have a link to your book, this would be a good place to do that. And I'm assuming that your website tells how to get connected to you, or obviously people could direct message you right here on Facebook as well if they want to. But as far as the poetry and stuff is concerned, you could post that here too, but it would get more exposure if you just were to post them on my page and or in the Universal Temple of Expanding Consciousness. And if you want, you and everyone else, in the description for this broadcast, there's a lot of different groups that I have created, and you are welcome to join any or all of them as good places for like-mindeds to find one another. Welcome, Leah. You've just missed an hour and 40-minute conversation that I had with the brilliant Jane Ilene Cohen. But I trust if you are interested, you will go back and take a look at it. It was very powerful. And Jane is about to, Jane is about to provide her website and her wonderful book that is called Life is Designed to Work. Very powerful, very, very powerful. She designed her own whole new thought system and published this book about 10 years ago. And we are very, very aligned in our ideology about this dimension and what is truly possible for us here when we are looking through healed divine eyes versus wounded eyes that create distortion. So very, very potent stuff. So what I was just speaking about was, if we are willing to give ourselves permission to sit quietly in a quiet space and just feel our connection to the atmosphere around us, the atmosphere that supports and sustains us, that animates us, that breathes life into us, that permeates us, that we are actually one with. And we can call this atmosphere life itself. We can call it a benevolent, intelligent field. This field is our primary relationship. We can call this field God. Our primary relationship is with this atmosphere, this dimension that is sustaining us. And the more that we can give ourselves permission to be present with it, and to consider it and to soften in reverent presence and gratitude to this field, I assert that the calmer and safer and more trusting and more relaxed we can actually feel. Because this field is intelligent and it has us. It is holding us. And we miss it because we exist inside of it. So we don't have the objectivity, just like the analogy that you've probably heard me use before about a fish. A fish can't see water. They're moving through an atmosphere that is supporting and sustaining them, and they can't see it. And so, like the fish, we are moving through an atmosphere that is supporting and sustaining us, and we can't see it. However, if we slow down, if we give ourselves permission to be present with the present, in that silent space that expands and expands and expands, we can find our peace. And the more we find our peace, the better we feel in our hearts, the better we feel in our nervous systems. The chatter in our minds grows still. Leah, divine eyes versus wounded eyes, liking that. I just was looking up Jane to try and see if I could find a link to the book. I think she's going to post it here. So just be patient and that should happen. Yeah, I think she's going to do that, Leah. So I assert that all the wonderful things that we get to experience and engage with in this dimension are really placebo for our direct abiding connection to that infinite source that is supporting and sustaining us. And because this dimension is a biofeedback loop, the more we give ourselves permission to calm down and to soften and to choose to be at peace with this dimension becomes our beloved. And it is almost like having a physical person with us that is so connected and so well suited and so calming and grounding, so that we can move through life in a space of intimate love, which which is what I believe when the Bible talks about the peace that surpasseth all understanding. It is that quiet, intimate sense of reassurance that we are loved, that we are held, that we are known, we are wanted, we are cared for. So when I entitled this episode, Your Relationship with the Field, it was an invitation to become aware of this intelligent atmosphere in which you exist, that you likely, because of programming, are in the habit of pushing yourself through, believing that you are responsible and everything is on your shoulders to cause to come into being. And that belief is a source of so much stress and anxiousness that creates anger and fear and resentment and temper, because we have been trained to function at a pace that disallows us from feeling our connection to this presence, to this field, which is God, which is life itself. And just like you can look at a painting or a photograph or a film, and it appears as though the characters and the objects are all separate from one another. If we were to run our fingers over the surface of the painting or the photograph or the screen in which all these different things are being displayed, there is the atmosphere, which is one with all of it. There is no separation. And when we really can wrap our minds around there being no separation, we can choose to be at peace because we can feel it as the actual truth of our experience. So I thank you for honoring me with your precious time and attention by spending these 2 hours with me. And I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday for episode number 41. And in the meantime, I leave you with infinite blessings for greater and greater sense of connectedness to all that is. Namaste.